Today I will be dealing with the topic job abandonment, landmark court judgments. Job abandonment is one of the many ways in which the employment contract can come to an end. In my experience, job abandonment is a form of termination that often gives employers difficulties simply because of certain guidelines are not followed and the decisively important rules of natural justice are not obeyed. This results, unfortunately for employers, in litigation at the industrial court for wrongful dismissal. An employee can be deemed to have abandoned a job where he overstays an approved leave of absence or absents himself from work without proper justification for a period of time. Now that we can appreciate the meaning of job abandonment, we can look at the proper way to deem that an employee has abandoned his or her job. In IRO number 16, 17 and 18 of 1991, between Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago and Central Steel Limited, the court explained, abandonment is a matter of intention, and this intention can only be gathered or inferred from the conduct of the person intending to abandon the job. The presence or absence of intent to remain away permanently is inferable from circumstances surrounding the absence of the employee. In Trade Dispute 225 of 2003, between the All Trinidad Sugar and General Workers Trade Union and Sandra Chung, proprietor Chung Photo Generations, the court stated that the mere absence of the worker from the workplace will not necessarily prove abandonment of the job. The court went on to highlight factors to be considered in determining whether the worker intended to abandon the job. These include A. Length of the absence. B. Whether the worker kept in contact with the employer during the absence. C. Whether the worker refused or failed to return on being directed to do so by the employer. And D. Whether the employer warned the worker that failure to return by a fixed date would result in dismissal. From the above principles that have been espoused by the court, certain guidelines can be developed which employers should heed carefully. 1. When an employee is absent from work, the employer should make reasonable efforts to contact the employee to ascertain the reasons for his or her absence. 2. If there is no legitimate excuse for the absence, or reasonable contact cannot be made with the employer should then write to the employee by registered mail at his last known address, directing him or her to report for work at a specific date. 3. The employer should also warn the employee that failure to return by such a fixed date would result in the employer deeming the employee as having abandoned the job. In Trade Dispute 225 of 2003, the employer was directed by the court to pay to the worker $46,000 in damages. In other cases, the court has awarded in excess of $100,000, according to the particular circumstances. This emphasizes that adhering to proper procedures are of utmost importance and should assist employers in successfully practicing good industrial relations and also minimize the expense of litigation at the industrial court. I thank you listeners for your attention.